Hey guys, my name is Sligh. I wanted to take just a quick minute to share exactly what it is that I do because I think sometimes it's a little bit confusing. What I do is not like the typical music artist. Typically, a music artist go in, they sing their songs that they've written that you can hear sometimes on radio or not on radio. They go in, they sing their songs, and they make the experience really as a sort of place where it's to get to know an artist and to really understand more about their music. That is not really what I do. There are pieces of that, and that is what I've done for a really long time. But a couple of years back, when God called me back into this itinerant music lifestyle, I really felt like that I was supposed to do something different. And so as I looked and broke down exactly what I did before and what I felt like God was calling me to this time, I really felt like that what I was supposed to do was not to be the artist who comes in and says, "This is who I am." Buy into what I am, so to speak. What I felt like God was calling me to was to simply be a guest that plugs into whatever ministry is already happening at a church. And so I play sometimes at churches of 35, 40 people. I go in and I do music and I speak into what is already happening in that church. And sometimes I go to large churches. I was at a church in, I've been in several mega churches over the past few years, over the past few months, as I go in and I lead worship in mega churches, and that is super, super fun also. But ultimately, what I'm doing is not the typical sort of artist thing. Basically, what I do is what I call parachurch ministry, or a pastor at large, so to speak. I want to be able to help worship leaders. I speak into worship leaders' lives. I mentor worship leaders. I help them through difficult struggles and problems. I help worship teams all across the United States. I do workshops where I go in and I cast vision for what worship, I think biblically, worship can and should be. And I speak to a philosophical underpinning, is what I call this thing called three-dimensional worship. And the idea that I have for this is not to come in and say, this is the only way, this is stylistically the way worship should be, or this is the way that you should pattern a worship program. No, it's not that. Three-dimensional worship is basically saying, here is an underpinning for it. No matter how you do your worship ministry, here is a biblical underpinning that helps you figure out how to cast vision for what you do. Again, everything that I do is about plugging into your system, into your church, and helping you figure out how to do what you do better. When I come in and I do a worship night, or I do a Sunday morning worship with you, we are going to do the songs that your church does. We are going to lead the songs that your church understands and knows and has wrapped their hearts around. Well, I'm going to pick from your list of songs. And then I'm not just going to be the leader who gets up and sings. I'm going to lead alongside your team. When we do a worship night at night, typically what a worship night looks like is that there's 8 to 10 songs of congregational worship. And we sing those songs, and we do the songs that your church knows well. Your leaders are leading alongside of me, and I get to lead alongside them. Really, if there's 8 to 10 songs, typically I'm only leading 2 or 3 of those. The idea is that I just want to be a partner in this thing, and hopefully maybe be a guest that would get people to come to this thing that maybe wouldn't otherwise. If they see somebody from American Idol, that might spark some interest to be able to come and come to this worship night and experience something that they wouldn't have experienced otherwise. That's really the goal. My goal is to plug into what you're doing. Now, I am going to do some of my songs. I'm going to, typically what a worship night looks like is we'll do 8 to 10 worship songs, and then somewhere in the middle there, I'll do about 30 minutes of my own music, and I tell my stories. People say that it's like a stand-up comedy act, because it kind of is. I've written pieces around why I wrote certain songs, and I talk about how those songs came to be, and typically they tend to be pretty funny. And so the goal, again, is not to come in and do what I do, although I do think that I will get to do some of that. That's the blessing that I get. But also, I'm going to come in and really plug into what you are doing and really try to help you reach whatever it is that you're trying to reach. I want to be there for worship pastors. I want to be there for pastors. I want to be there for relationships. And that's really the goal of all of this. The music, the music that I write, I'm singing songs different than I used to sing back when I toured. I lead worship, and those songs are going to change from year to year. My goal is to build relationships that as the songs change, that we can still be in ministry together and do stuff together. So that is what I do as an artist. And I would love to partner with you and your church, you and your ministry, and to be able to do something really, really special for what you are doing and to fit into what is happening in your church already. Thanks for checking this out. Again, I'm Chris Sligh. You can check me out at chrissligh.org or Facebook /Chris Sligh or Instagram /Chris Sligh. Check me out there. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.